HealthWish is a series of conversations about the state of healthcare in New York City's fabulous fifth borough, Staten Island. Our goal is to raise issues, raise awareness, and raise health, because when we raise health, we raise everyone. Welcome to the Brian Halpin Pediatric Cancer Center. We are delivering the same great care we always have, but we are doing it closer to where you live. That means your child can be treated in one of our beds and spend the rest of the night in their own bed. Give it a listen.
Hey Staten Island, welcome to HealthWish. And we're here for a very special episode. I'm here with Dr. Eleny Romanos and Dr. Joanna Pierro, our two pediatric oncologists, and we're here in this beautiful new building that will soon be dubbed the Florina Cancer Center. And we've been waiting so long to get through this. We've been delayed by COVID and what it meant to construction and to medical care. What does it mean to be here to both of you?
We're so incredibly excited to have the building opening soon. For over a decade, I've treated patients with cancer on Staten Island, and we've had all of the newest medications, all of the standard treatments, the staff providing personalized care, but we haven't had the state-of-the-art building yet, and we're so excited to be able to provide that beautiful new building to our patients and their families.
You can have the services, you can have the staff, you can have the medical expertise, but if you don't actually have the facility where people feel like they're getting a certain level of care, in terms of what that actually means, the kinds of care you can deliver, what are you going to be able to do here?
I think the most important thing is we're going to provide a space where the families feel comfortable to receive their care and feel proud to receive their care. So I think that our outsides are finally going to match the insides, which is something that we're really excited about and what we're most looking forward to for the patients.
Oh, that's really great. Outsides matching the insides. That's a great way of actually looking at it. Most people don't know that we've been taking care of pediatric cancer here on Staten Island for some time. You typically don't see people opening peds cancer centers except for major pediatric hospitals. And what does that do in terms of people being taken care of in their own community, and how is that important to these children?
It's super important for patients to be taken care of in their own backyards. What we want to provide for them is the care here so that they don't have to travel. We learn from many of our patients and their families that by not having to commute to other centers, commute off the island, they gain valuable time. And that improves their quality of life during treatment. It gives them time back that they can use to play and just be kids and spend time with their family, which is so incredibly important during treatment, after treatment, and throughout their lives.
Dr. Pierro, you were telling me a great story earlier about a child who figured out how to get something done. Can you relay that story to me?
So I recently had a patient who was on therapy and her passion was dancing. And I remember when she was first diagnosed, she told me nationals were in July. I said, well, that might not happen. We'll have to see where we are. And that child got on a stage and did a number of dances, even solos, and actually ranked very high, placed well. And we were so happy to be able to see that she was able to maintain normalcy throughout receiving care. And it was something we're really proud of.
You hear the C word as a parent, and it's just something that is just so all-encompassing. And it's one of these things where everyone wants to help a child with cancer. Of kids who get cancer, how many of them recover completely?
Well, the majority of kids with cancer really do recover completely. The most common form of cancer that we see in pediatrics is a type of leukemia, which is very, very curable. So kids do much better than adults. They're very resilient. It's amazing to watch them get their treatments and recover and still be running down the hallway or, running into the office despite what's happening inside their bodies. So it's an amazing thing. We've come a long way. We still have a long way to go. More research is definitely needed, but we're certainly on the right track.
Because of that, and because of the fact that so many of these kids do well, it makes it that much more important that you spend less time on the road, that you keep them in their environment, you try to make them feel as comfortable as you can, you try to make them feel as much like a child as they actually are. It kind of goes along with the idea of, we're going to deliver the same care here, but we're going to do it closer to where you are, so less of your whole life is going to be around cancer, right? I've heard from so many cancer patients, like one of the hardest parts is that their whole life, everything they do becomes only about treatment. And if this means 2.5, 3 less hours every time you're going in, I think that would mean a lot to a kid, no?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, these medicines many of them are the same throughout the nation. You'll get the same treatment plan regardless of where you go for many of these cancers. And so we want to deliver that same care. We can deliver that same care while avoiding that commute.
You're not always going to the cancer center in the normal middle of the day. Emergencies happen. You have to put your kid in the car at 2 o'clock in the morning and come in with a fever or vomiting, and now you're trekking 10 minutes instead of an hour. That not everything is planned when you're going through chemo treatment. It can be very unexpected. Bumps do happen. And to be able to go back and forth even when your child's admitted to the hospital, run home for a change of clothes, take a shower, not have to worry about reparking the car in a $50 garage. I think these things are really important, things that people overlook when they seek care elsewhere.
I wanted to highlight something you said, because there is this perception amongst a lot of people that if you went to 10 different doctors to get treated for cancer, that you would get 10 different regimens for cancer care. And turns out, and specifically, cancer care has become much more advanced in a lot of the specialties where they've kind of been one of the first to protocolize and standardize. When you see a child, how do you actually pick what they're going to be on? And is that different if you're practicing here or you're practicing in Wisconsin?
Right. There may be some variations on the treatment plan depending on where you are practicing, but most of the centers would use the protocols or the treatment plans that have the best data, and that would be the same across the nation. So while there might be some variation, all in all, the treatment plans are similar for many of the most common cancers for patients.
Yeah, and we're both members of the Children's Oncology Group. About 90% of the centers in the United States that treat children's cancers treat according to Children's Oncology Group protocols. So these are widely used and pretty standardized across institutions.
So I have to ask for both of you, what brought you to Staten Island, or what kept you on Staten Island? Dr. Romanos, you want to go first?
Sure. So I did work in Manhattan. I trained in a big center in Manhattan. We both did prior to coming here. And what I saw in Manhattan was a lot of the families coming from the outer boroughs, traveling to Manhattan for the same care I knew they could receive in their backyard. I wanted more of a family feel. I wanted to be more involved in the personal day-to-day treatment, and I didn't want to be part of an assembly line of patients. I wanted to be part of a community, and I felt when I came here that this was absolutely the community I wanted to be a part of. In fact, I moved here because I loved it so much, so I'm here for good.
Please.
And so I'm a born and raised Staten Islander. I've been here my whole life. I can't seem to escape, even if I tried, but I don't want to. This is where my family is. This is where my home is. Like Dr. Romanos said, I also went to Manhattan for training and really wanted to come back home and bring that expertise back to the island. I love taking care of my community, the people that I grew up with, their children, people that I live and work with every day. It makes it a lot more special because these people are not only patients to me, they're family and they're friends and people that we see in day-to-day life. So it makes the job a lot more meaningful to be able to give back to the community that made me who I am today.
So the reason I brought it up is I think it's kind of cool, and you two are really in very much ways a cross-section of the kinds of physicians that we actually have in the institution now, right? So we have the Staten Islander who essentially leaves, goes and gets an amazing education, goes and learns all these things, and then comes back to take care of their community. And then the other half of, again, very well-trained person, not from here, but somehow winds up coming here and eventually falls in love with the place. And I think it's just so cool that you both end up as, moms raising kids on Staten Island. But it's really a cross-section of the kinds of amazing physicians that we get here, and all in one little mini subdivision of a department.
I just told her this story, but I was at a football game for my son the other night, and I heard Dr. Pierro, and I turned and one of my patients was there watching the game, and she was so excited to see me. She told me how she was feeling. We did a visit on the sidelines. But it's really nice to be in that community and be around these people all the time.
I did want to ask you now specifically a couple of questions about the Brian Halpin Pediatric Cancer Center. But pediatric cancer care has changed a lot. I remember, when I trained, most or a lot of pediatric infusion was actually done in a hospital bed, in an inpatient. And one of the reasons that we had to make this a larger complex and actually add beds is because that's different now, right?
So there's a huge focus now on treating patients more outpatient so that they can get their treatments here, but then go home and sleep in their own beds, have dinner with their family at home rather than spending nights in the hospital, which is a major improvement on the quality of life for the patients and for their families as well. So it's important that we have a bigger outpatient center, a more beautiful outpatient center where they spend their time and then go home.
Makes sense.
Yep.
Same concept, right?
Mm-hmm.
Don't spend the time in your car. Don't spend your time in a hospital bed. Try to get the kid back to their bed. Try to get them into their regular routine as quickly as possible, because at the end of the day, the majority of them are going to get better, so you want them to be a kid.
Right.
It's a big part of what we're actually trying to do and where we're trying to go.
Join us next time as we continue to unveil the new Brian Halpin Pediatric Cancer Center that gives families all their care in one place. HealthWish wishes to thank our special guests, Dr. Romanos and Dr. Pierro, Staten Island's own pediatric oncologists. For more information on the Brian Halpin Pediatric Cancer Center and ways to give back, please click on the link in the video description. We're very interested in your health wish. Contact us at healthwish@northwell.edu. Thanks for joining us. We hope to see you again soon.